I wish I had an intriguing story on why I decided to write this poem, but the truth is, at the beginning of the semester, my English teacher made us write a piece on why we were named what we were named and how we came about being named that. So while I was writing this piece, I didn't think much of it and handed it into my teacher. And the next day when I walked into class, my teacher, Ms. Como, could not stop praising how good it was and how much she loved it. And I was surprised because I didn't really think much of it and I didn't really think it was that good. And she urged me to submit it to the Scribbler, which I thought was a terrible idea, solely because of the fact that the idea of putting my work out there was horrifying. Then I was like, hey, what could possibly go wrong? So here I am a few months later. So thanks, Ms. Como. And I've always genuinely loved writing as well as reading poetry, and it's one of the few things that keep me sane. I write all kinds of poetry, angry slam poems to political and social justice pieces, which are just for my eyes. And the reason I feel this poem was so loved by people who read it is because of how truthful and raw it is, and how I had immense difficulty adapting to my name, and the journey still continues. So this poem is If Only. Omema, a name that always held two very distinctive meanings in my heart. I was blessed with a curse by being in Omema. Out of the mouths of my parents, Omema sounded like the Neelam River flowing gracefully through Pakistan. The name made me feel like a carefree child playing in the streets of Pakistan. Omema reminded me of the struggles of my ancestors as they migrated their way through India to the lands of Pakistan, with immeasurable hopes and dreams, with fire ignited in their eyes. Omema meant hope. It meant a new beginning. It meant equality. It meant empowerment. It was resilience. It epitomized the hardships of my people. It connected me to each and every one of the streets of Pakistan. It connected me to every one of the nooks, crannies, and beaches and bazaars of Pakistan. Canada ripped away every good memory and thought of Omema. In this cold foreign country called Canada, my name meant disappointment. It was self-loathing. Omema meant the harsh winters of Winnipeg. It was days and nights of an 8-year-old pondering over why no one could ever pronounce it right. Omema meant endless sadness. It meant waiting. It was silence stretching like a lifetime. It meant funny looks. It was people telling you how to pronounce your name. It was hurting, and it meant embarrassment. In a country full of Beckys and Emmas and Megans, Omema was the odd one out. If only someone sat my 8-year-old self down and told me the fault was not in Omema, but people failing to comprehend its worth.
Thank you very much, Omema. I'd now like to invite up Maya Alzheimer to present her piece, PSA.
Good evening. Before I read out to you my piece, I would just like to say what inspired me to write it. And so, yeah, thank you. So when I wrote it, I guess I wrote it as like a reaction to the American elections. And I explored two main themes that are very relevant and are important to me, which are our corrupt and failing system of capitalism and our obsession with material objects. And so, as a society, we have co-created and have been sucked into the world of hyper-consumerism and psychological marketing tactics. We are devoting our souls and money into worshiping objects. For example, the need to purchase big fancy houses, which are essentially just boxes of wood or brick that our bodies reside in. It's very unnecessary. We are a privileged society of shoppers. We are the rich top 10% of the human population, and yet I still don't understand how there is poverty in this world, even within our own communities. And that's the thing. Poverty is part of our system, and it's part of our economy. Capitalism thrives off of impoverished people in the working middle class, and it only benefits the top 1%. And so I would like to read out to you my piece. Distraught is what the people are. confusion and fear running in our veins, trepidation over what is to come. Our system is failing us. Robots are taking over, and not the metallic kind either. They very much have human flesh, but with no heart, no mind, no morals. Just the will to function, to fulfill duties that favor their interests and fill their pockets. They don't care about us, but we are too blind to see the truth. They have fabricated our realities, and we are content. Gave us a McDonald's burger and a Rihanna song, expecting us to be happy, to silence us, to conceal the truth, the corruption. But we're not happy, we're not satisfied. We want our freedom back, we want our privacy back. And we, the people, to be protected, not taken advantage of as another chess piece for the economy. Open your eyes, it's an illusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. I'd like to now invite up Tina Zhang to present her piece, The Last Goodbye.
Okay, so it's me again. My name is Tina again. My name is called The Last Goodbye. It is inspired by the war that is happening in Syria right now. When we talk about war, what are we truly talking about? Blood, bullet, sacrifice, courage, or determination? But what I value the most is what has left behind all the soldiers, family. We say war is either loss or win, but to soldiers' family, it is always a loss. They lose a part of their family, they miss them every single day. And they worry about them. Little kids always ask their mom, where did Dad go? And moms always reply with confidence that they will eventually come back to be with them. But that's not always the case, because that's linked closely with war. People die, blood rain, it's just price that someone needs to pay. I wrote this piece to show how much people sacrifice during the war, how vulnerable a family are, and how fortunate that we can live in peace. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Suher Gotra to present her piece, Test.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Suhert, and the name of my piece is Test. So I wrote this piece just some time after I had a test in my class, and the test was a hard one. So I noticed what the kids were doing, and I just put that down on a piece of paper, never knowing that I will have it published one day. So my piece is very much connected to the student life and what the students do in a class test. And I hope all the students understand what I mean, like cheating and stuff. But I also hope that the parents understand, because they were kids too once. So yeah. And so my piece is not at all a serious one, because it does not say that do not cheat. It just says we cheat. So that is human nature, I think. And then I have repeated 2 lines in my piece. They are: the toughest time in a student's life is the test, and no one even thinks of taking a rest. Well, I've repeated it again and again to highlight the irony that students study hard, they want to get good marks, they study, but eventually they end up cheating. How cool is that? So here's my piece. The toughest time in a student's life is the test. No one even thinks of taking a rest. No Facebook, no basketball, no more distractions. There's just one thing left in the whole world: the test. It's a good time for parents who wish to see the sincere, studious part of children. What the parents were unable to do, the lifeless tests did. The toughest time in a student's life is the test. No one even thinks of taking a rest. Everyone running through the corridors, hands now holding books instead of phones. Library full of students. A sudden change in the air. The school environment full of tension, despair. The toughest time in a student's life is the test. No one even thinks of taking a rest. As soon as the tests are handed out, there is a pin drop silence. At that very moment, the class is divided among those who know the test and those who don't. The fate of their scores is decided. No one even thinks of taking a rest. Thank you.
Thank you, Suher. And now I'd like to invite out Valen Seikai to present his piece, adaptation of Portrait of a Woman.
Hi everyone. My piece is a digital adaptation of Egon Schiele's Portrait of a Woman. I was looking through his artwork when I saw this drawing. What interested me was how it seems like she was drawn in a single stroke, and the focus is around her head. I was inspired to contrast those ideas, and I was influenced by Piero, a sad clown. I dressed her in more intricate filled clothing and added a teardrop to complete her look. I hope my piece has enticed you to look into Schiele, other artists, or even the Scribbler. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Valen. I would now like to invite up Anna Lee to present her piece, When You Are, I'm in Love.
This is a bit tough. Is it okay? Can you guys hear this? Yeah, thank you. Okay. So now I can actually speak. Okay. So for me, writing has always been my creative outlet and a way of expressing my opinions. My story in the Scribbler is titled When You're in Love, and the beginning goes like this. You are the person I talk to in the dead of night. You are the beach, always there, and I am the sea rushing up to you. I think I'm in love with you, but I wish I wasn't. My story is about two young women who are best friends that fall in love with each other. I thought of the idea pretty late at night, and I didn't really know the full story yet. I just wanted it to be soft and pretty and romantic. As an advocate for LGBT plus rights, I know that the LGBT plus community doesn't get a lot of representation in novels. I thought, why can't the protagonist and love interest both be females? So I made my protagonist and love interest both females. I know a lot of people in the world struggle coming to terms with or finding a label for themselves. I wanted to acknowledge them and give them representation. I also added a line or two that romanticizes consent, because that's also something not commonly romanticized in media or novels, and consent is very important to me. I love my writing, I'm proud of it, and I hope you enjoy it and listen to Scribbler.
Thank you, Anna. Now I'm going to invite up Efwa Opoku Ajiman to present her piece, Final Moments.
Hi, my name is Efwa. The title of my piece is Final Moments. It was inspired by a musical piece entitled Letters for Home by composer Peter Meechan. It was initially a piece that we were playing for a band for Remembrance Day, and my band teacher asked my ELA teacher if there are some band students that are interested in writing some pieces for this movement. There are 3 movements in total, and I chose to write about the first movement. I'm just going to read a portion of it. I'm just going to read a portion of my poem. As the time draws near, I have to bid her farewell. The pain, the agony I'm feeling as I cherish my last moments with her. My return is not rest assured, for I do not know what the battlefield holds. I must serve and defend my country. This poem was inspired by the World War at the time that Canadians helped fight. It's based on the first movement, which is entitled Bittersweet Love Song. It is about a soldier who prepares to go defend his country on the battlefield and has a hard time saying goodbye to his loved one. The soldier does not know what the future holds, and as he embarks on this journey in life, I wanted the reader to feel the emotions the soldier would have felt at this time and how much he loved the woman he was leaving behind. I just want to say thank you to Scribbler for picking my piece and choosing to publish it. Thank you.
not least, let's welcome Eric Fowler to present her piece, Oublié.
Thank you, Tina. Oublié is a song I wrote for and about one of my closest friends. At the time, she was in a relationship that was not the greatest, and of course, because this frustrated me, I felt the need to write about it and, feelings. Therefore, I wrote the song from her perspective. The main lyric of the song is Juste un regard et j'ai tout oublié. For those of you who don't have the pleasure of speaking French, this translates to just one look and I forget everything. I remember the day that I wrote the song. I had brought my guitar to school and I was in the basement practice room and I had this idea for a riff. I sat down and started playing around with chords and then with lyrics, and before I knew it, I had a whole song. Originally, the words were in English. I ended up rewriting the lyrics in French after I decided to enter the competition La Chicane Électrique for the second time. I ended up winning the overall title of that competition, and because of that, what started as a simple tune I came up with in the basement of the school ended up becoming my first single as well as my first music video. I am so unbelievably proud that I can share it with you today, and I hope you all enjoy it.
Ça ne me tente pas d'attendre, de voir si nous sommes bons ensemble. La réponse, je l'ai déjà. Ça ne me tente pas d'attendre, je sais que nous sommes bons ensemble. Voir si tu les verras. Avec un seul regard, tout fait fondre mon cœur. Avec un seul regard, je n'ai plus de rancœur. Avec un tel regard, tout est pardonné. Juste un regard, et j'ai tout oublié. J'essaie de garder la flamme allumée dans ce pli qui ne cesse de tomber, mais je n'ai plus de feu. Cet amour difficile me fera pas d'arrêter. Avec un seul regard, tout fait fondre mon cœur. Avec un seul regard, je n'ai plus de rancœur. Avec un tel regard, tout est pardonné. Juste un regard, et j'ai tout oublié. J'avoue que parfois je me demande si notre amour a une part de temps. Comment réussir à rester ensemble, de cœurs si différents. Avec un seul regard, tout fait fondre mon cœur. Avec un seul regard, je n'ai plus de rancœur. Avec un tel regard, tout est pardonné. Juste un regard, et j'ai tout oublié. chez toi.